All right, good day, everybody, and welcome to the webinar, ICAC Investigations, the Art of Balancing Victim Witness Consent and Evidence Collection. I'm Rich Frawley. I am one of the presenters here today. I'll introduce myself, then I'll move over to Kyle, who's with me. For those of you who haven't been to one of our webinars before, haven't met me, I'm Rich Frawley. I'm the Director of Training here at ADF Solutions. Been at ADF Solutions going in my 9th year. Prior to that, 23 years in law enforcement, and 17 of those as a forensic examiner and investigator. We were affiliate of the ICAC, and I did work for a lot of different departments from where I came from. If you kind of try to do the math a little bit with what I did, I started this in around 1999, 2000. So there wasn't a lot of us, especially here in the state of Connecticut. There were about 2 departments doing this. So did a lot of work for other departments, a lot of different types of cases. Had a lot of fun doing it. And finally in 2016, wrapped it all up. Came here to ADF Solutions. So we'll be presenting back and forth here today, and hopefully have a little bit of good time, and you guys can learn a little bit and see what we have to offer. So now off to Kyle.
Thank you, Rich. Good morning. I guess afternoon for some folks if they're on the East Coast. Morning still-ish for me on the West Coast. Kyle Patterson. My resume isn't as nice as Rich's, but learning quite a bit and do have a small law enforcement background. I spent about 12 years local law enforcement in California. Several of those years I spent working ICAC Investigations for the Silicon Valley ICAC Task Force in the Bay Area. I was not a forensic guy through and through like Rich, but more of a case agent. Dabbled in forensics, but what I did use all the time was the ADF tool for my ICAC investigations. And then when I slid over and was doing some more major crime investigations, I ended up implementing ADF quite a bit for the victim witness consent type stuff. Someone's trying to give me something right now. How do I get that in a timely, professional manner and not lose that evidence? So leverage the heck out of ADF. Excited to tell you more about the tool. And my transition over to ADF was early this year. So I've been with the company for about 6 months now, and excited about what we're doing and excited to share more. That's about it for me. And sorry, within ADF, the law enforcement advisor for the company. So the main conduit for our local law enforcement agencies, specifically in the United States, their conduit to the company. So happy to meet everyone that's here and feel and flow this with Rich.
All right, thank you. Let's go over what we're going to go through today. Kind of documenting digital evidence, working with victims' witness consent, understanding some of the things we're using to do that, how it can help, how it can hurt, how it may hurt, some of the controversy with it, understanding what the screen capture and screen recording is, reasons you can utilize it. We'll go over some of the legal, which is where a lot of that debate, if you will, comes in. Some of the challenges if you do use it. Some of the methods that are being used. And then we'll give a little demonstration of what we have to offer and let you see it here in person. And right up from the beginning, we got a lot of good things coming down the pike with this as well, both on the victim witness consent side and the full forensic side of it. So with that, let's start going through this. And Kyle's going to speak up, and when he's got a story, he's going to throw something at me, or I'm going to throw it at him. So there may be some surprises with him saying, "What?" We haven't rehearsed this slide deck, so enjoy, if you will. But basically, hey, what's a screen capture? Easy. It's an image or recording of the data displayed on the screen of the mobile device. Simple. You bring it up on the screen, and you make some type of capture of it, whether it's video or whether it's still. And there's a lot of methods to do that, which comes into why we offer this, because of some of the methods that were being used. And if I were to ask a bunch of people, hey, have you ever used these methods? There'd probably be a lot of eyes diverting to the side. Nope, never done that. We always do it this way. But methods to do it with the device itself, a couple buttons, click. Usually that's what it is, maybe a couple screen taps, but you use the device itself to make that screen capture. Usually when that's done, then it has to be sent, right? Or you've done that, saved it, and then make an acquisition, which I've heard some people do. That's kind of the manual way. You have the when I say manual, you're thumbing through it and using a camera, maybe a camera stand, and then mirroring it off to something else with some free tool, maybe to a screen, and then taking screen captures of that screen. Kyle, anything there I kind of missed, or have you seen anybody doing some of these?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is comical, but I think a lot of agencies to this day are still doing the classical, camera or device in front of the body cam, or cell phone photo of the photo of a photo of a photo. There's some funny stuff going on, but no, the screen capturing that we offer, is definitely the more appropriate and professional way. My experience is that the district attorneys love it too, especially for exhibits or anything that's going to be entered into evidence, especially for a jury. That they understand. It's clean, and then on the back end, I'm sure we'll get into it, but the OCR, optical character recognition functionality of it is incredibly powerful, and especially if you're auto scrolling thousands of pages of text conversation, and you're looking for that word gun, or you're looking for that word body, or whatever it is, to be able to search that on the back end. It's amazing.
Yeah, you brought up a good one there. The body cam with the phone in front of the body camera. I haven't really heard that one, but it makes a lot of sense. Reasons we're utilizing this, it's, hey, this is here in front of me right now. Here and now, I need this for whatever reason that may be, whether it's victim witness consent, maybe it's mass casualty, maybe it's critical incident. Maybe it's, hey, if I don't do this right now, this is going to walk out the door and I know I'm never going to see it again. Those kind of taillight guarantee. Yeah. I'll come back tomorrow and you can get the info off my phone. That never happens. So when you have that ability and you don't have either the time, the tool, you're limited in what you have, this allows you to grab that information right there off the bat. Like I said, you have some time, but not enough time. I don't have the tool right here, right now to do what I need it to do, so I have something that'll allow me to do this. CI, we've had a lot of talk, and I've talked to a lot of people using it this way, right? So you have a confidential informant, maybe working drug cases. You're trying to keep up with their chats, their calls. You're trying to log it without getting them or putting them in risk. So a quick meet, a quick screenshot, a quick grab of the call logs, and the phone's back in their hands within minutes, right? And you've logged what you needed to use. The front line, the walkaways. Hey, sorry, you're not taking my phone. I don't have the time. Maybe I'll stop by the department tomorrow and give you the video of what I got. Tool's not compatible with field use. I kind of mentioned that. And then, this device needs to be sent away, or I don't have the ability in my lab, but I know if I get this now, I can have this person make my decision, have them in my jail and in court tomorrow morning instead of waiting for the device to go away and come back. So, and I'm sure there's plenty more reasons here, but your victim witness consent fall into that. You have an incident where they're reluctant, they're going to walk away. That's going to help. My little disclaimer, got to have this in everything that I do. Everything falls down to your policies and procedures. You cannot walk away from this and say, Rich Frawley told me I was able to do this because his tool does that. It's not the case. I'm going to tell you what the tool can do, how it can be used, how it has been used, and then based on what your policy procedures are, then maybe you can fit it into your workflow, into your policies and procedures. And of course, there is the Fourth Amendment that we must all abide by as well. And I'll get into that in a little bit here. Anything on that, Kyle?
Yep, you hit it on the head. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that line. Well, Rich Frawley told me to do it. Yeah.
Fourth Amendment and the right to privacy, right? You need probable cause to have that device, to get into that device, to search and seize. Specificity has always been in the Fourth Amendment, but it's becoming more and more applied here in the mobile realm, if you will. So you absolutely need, I have probable cause to believe that this item that I am looking for is in there, but you got to watch about being broad. Exclusionary rule, fruit of the poisonous tree, always have to be careful with that. And of course, there's exceptions to that search incident to arrest. However, that search incident to arrest has been documented that you cannot go through that device just because you made the arrest. Here's where consent comes in, which is nice. If a party consents to search, there are no Fourth Amendment protections. That whole above the line there goes away. But where it becomes more difficult is whether that consent is valid. That is determined by the totality of the circumstances. It lies upon you to bring to court that this consent was willing, able, done the right way, and there was no coercion, if you will. So you really need to document everything you were doing when you're going the consent route. And of course, search warrant, always better, but we're talking about specific types cases here. And as we go through, we'll kind of mention this so you understand that this isn't a blanket, hey, you're going to use this all the time. Just the kind of basic, again, back to my disclaimers. I am not a lawyer. I maybe play one in this webinar. But no, I know everywhere is different. All laws are different. All jurisdictions are different. So we'll leave it at that and just a little bit of coverage there. This used to be towards the end when I was talking. I go through everything and say, once you've done all this and once it goes to court, you have discovery issues. And this is kind of where some of the debate comes up on whether when you're dealing with these phones, how you should handle them. And there's a million debates to it. And I see both sides of it, but there's times where you need to make some decisions. So what we're going to talk about is me knowing that you're an investigator, you're good at what you do, and you know your case better than anybody else, right? When you're talking to somebody, you've had this case, you've lived this case, you're interviewing, you're doing your stuff with this case, so you know it better than anybody else. If this person starts getting a little hinky, a little sketchy, and you start feeling that the wheels are coming off, you always have that option to fall back on. Not doing screenshot screen recordings, victim witness consent style, But now you're starting to build that totality of circumstances. Say, you know what? I think maybe something else is going on here. I'm going to take this device. But back to discovery issues, when you do grab everything on a case, it contains years and years of data, most devices. I know with my phone, it's got a lot of data on it. I'm pretty good at backing some stuff up, but just like everybody else, creature habits, you keep text messages, you keep photos, you keep videos. Even though you back some stuff and pull it off, you still leave some of the older ones that are on there. If you happen to have access to iTunes or to your iCloud account on the phone open and you're going through it, I can go back 14 years on my device and see like the first apps that I ever downloaded on the device itself. So a lot of information. And when it comes to discovery and the other side getting a full file system, you know, when this incident that we were investigating was over a 24-hour period, all that data is open for the defense to go through. Now, you may have filtered it down, funneled it down, made a beautiful report, and pointed to everything that you need to do, like is expected of us. But that's not what's going to get looked at, right? And then not only does the defense get the opportunity, their expert get an opportunity to go through it, but they're not going to look at that nice funnel that you created. And then, you know, with some, not all, it may become a moral compass. Hey, look what they did 6 months ago, right? Look what they did 2 years ago, as opposed to this case. So you really got to be careful with that. And there really is, at this point, I've had some discussions with other vendors and some tools that are out there, but there really is no true method, as there are with computers, to pick and choose what you want to get off of that device, off a mobile device, right? Hey, just give me this database file. Let me pull that off. Let me get some of the system information, and that's it. Don't want to make a full acquisition. Very difficult to do. With this as well, with the discovery issues, I had somebody bring up from the defense that the defense, or if you have a full file system, and we're talking about a weekend worth of stuff here, that they can apply for a protective order for the data, right? Yeah, it's a method, but still open to denial, still open to have that everything put out there. So on both sides, there are proponents of, hey, just give me what I need, don't give me everything, and others that still say, nope, you need everything, I don't care, we'll take care of it later. So maybe spend a little bit too much time on it, but just that's because that's where this debate all comes from, and I see both sides of it. Kai, you want to get me out of this mess?
Yeah. No, it's messy. You know, I was bound by, you know, in 2016 in California, you know, Cal ECPA or 1546, the penal code, and conversely, everything, you know, you said is spot on, but also, you know, from a perspective of, you know, yeah, the incident, the fruits of the poisonous tree are only really around this, you know, this 24-hour period of said crime or whatever you're using to move your case forward. You know, that's all great. You know, the defense gets 10 years to throw mud on this victim's, you know, behavior, or maybe, you know, moral compass or whatever. But conversely to all of that, and this is just why being an investigator is incredibly hard and only getting harder, because you know, you need to also, this goes back to the disclaimer on the kind of law, and we're not attorneys, but you need to be super sharp on case law and what your state or jurisdiction is bound by in terms of what you can look at and what you can't. You know, if you're told you can only look at a 1 month, you know, worth of data, you know, and you see something maybe 5 years ago that you want to use. How did you see it? Why were you there?
Right. Yeah.
How do you? My rule of thumb was like, in good faith, I was here, and my eyes, I saw this, and oh my God, this is brilliant for the case. You almost go back and ask for forgiveness, for lack of better terms. Really, like, hey, I saw this, and I was in this location in good faith. Can I now use this? You almost ask for legal authority after the fact, but that you can lose a case on too. Why were you looking?
Yeah.
Why were you looking at this date range?
Yeah, and that's hard with this because you have everything, and you still have to go through and filter and funnel with whatever tool you're using. And that's, you can do that, but you still need, and with all the tools, you still need to make you still need to do that full acquisition in order to get to what you are allowed to get to or have to filter down to. So you may be able to search for dates, but the data is still back there.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to move on here because I know I'm talking too much, and I want to get to show everybody what we have. But consent considerations, voluntary, must be free and voluntarily given, no coercion, no threats. They must understand their right to refuse, that they're free to leave and all that. Clarity about what you're looking for. You can't say I'm looking for credit card information in a text message and be in there, hey, I'm taking your pictures here type of thing. Okay, this is what the crime is. This is what we're looking for, and I'll kind of walk you through how that, and avoid that. Hey, I want everything. If they're going to go that way and say I don't care, take my whole device, then you're probably better off, just making the acquisition and tying them up. But most of the time that's not going to be the case, and that's kind of what we're talking about here. Transparency, kind of what I was going through. How is this going to be done? This is what we're getting, allowing them actually to be there while you're doing it, showing them what you're taking. And I love using this as a method to conduct a further interview with them, and also their knowledge of what they're doing on that device. Hey, sit here, I'm going to talk to you, show me this, show me that, where is this? And you get to kind of see what they're doing. Make sure it's all documented. Back to that body cam. If you happen to be in a situation where you don't have the paperwork, getting it on the body cam, everything that you're saying, they're saying, and that they consented to it freely. Making sure there's no power imbalance. They're not locked in a room. They're not feeling pressured that if you don't do this, then I'm not going to do this type of thing. Again, deception, and making sure of all else that there is no influence of drug or alcohol, especially if you're going to be recording. You're only making it more difficult on yourself. Think about language. Do they understand cloud and encrypted? Or is that what you're looking for? Hey, I need this stuff's in the cloud. I know I'm not going to get it in an acquisition. So that's what we're looking for here, and why we're going to be recording and screenshotting. Or, hey, I have the ability to do it advanced logical. I know I'm not going to get WhatsApp. They're end-to-end encrypted. Kind of explaining that and keeping that language so they understand what and why you're doing it. And of course, compliance. Properly obtaining this, just their rights, everything's, kind of making sure everybody's covered, not only yourself, but them. And if you have any questions on it, please always consult with your legal team. Like I said, I started this back in 1999, and I hear all different types of stories. Of course, everybody's different across the country, but I always had a great legal team that I worked with. And it was more, we were teaching them, the prosecutors and the judges back at the time. It's probably not that much anymore, maybe still a little bit. But we always had a great relationship when it came to, hey, this is what I think I'm going to do because of this. What do you think? And running it by them. In the UK, if we have anybody in here from the UK, I think a couple of years ago, they standardized their consent laws for digital devices, and they have 10 principles they must follow. Some of the ones that are here that I think follow along suit with us, but are great. The material must be strictly necessary and avoid unnecessary intrusion. So what you're going in and taking from them has to be relevant to the case. You must provision that information to the victim or the witness so they get a copy of whatever you're doing. Material extracted is adequate, relevant, and not excessive for the purpose for which it was acquired. And then there's a whole bunch of other things that must be done. Your signatures, your everything we kind of went over before, but there's 10 principles that must be followed, which kind of solidify that, making sure that the consent was given. It's up to you. The burden's on you to make sure that that consent is good, and that helps do that. Victim witness consent. Willingness to comply. That's the biggest thing here, right? You're going to have that willingness at the beginning. They want to help you solve their case. You want them to help you solve their case. Your timeline of the case is typically small, right? You're dealing with something like this. It happened over a weekend. They're willing to give you their chats, their social media, their call logs. But again, it comes back to that months, a year data and what else is on that device. So you have to kind of work with them and their willingness to comply. So that's where the screenshot and screen recordings really help with this. All right, sit down next to me. Let me see your phone. We're going to put it here. Tell me about what happened. So you're starting your interview. The phone's between you. You're kind of breaking the ice. Maybe you have the tool up on the screen. And you can even ask them to control, hey, show me where your settings are. Can you go to your setting? Hey, I'm going to take a couple screenshots so I get the IMEI, your phone number, just to show that this is your phone. Is that all right with you? Yeah, click, screenshot. All right, we got that. Show me the chat, right? Maybe you're recording this whole session too. So you see them going to where it is on the phone. They open it. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. All right. All right. Boom. And you're kind of working with them, getting their knowledge and conducting an interview at the same time. And maybe also getting to see what else is on that device. Again, you're an investigator, so you're going to be looking at this stuff. Kyle, anything? Bueller?
Yeah, no, I was in. Sorry, I was looking at the question and answer. We had a question, so reading that, but I think it was Dave. Otherwise, no, you're spot on. And I was going to say that at the beginning with the screen recording, especially with that reluctant victim, or even person of interest or suspect, right? You can play nice guy and you don't even need to touch their device to grab everything. You know, if as long as they're bringing it up on the screen, we're grabbing it. And in theory, you don't even need to touch their device and just record that whole session.
And this is one that when I'm out teaching this class in person, it's great. You have people in front of you, and it's like, hey, I forgot my device. Does somebody want to give me a phone so I can show the demo of the tool here? Right? Never a hand goes up. Never, unless it's a work phone. Right? Oh yeah, here's my work phone. There's nothing on it. Nobody wants to give up their phone, and it's kind of how you have to think. Where's the reluctance coming from? It's a personal device. You need to remember that it's got years of data on it. It's even though with my phone, and this will probably apply to just about everybody here. If there's nothing on my phone, right? There's pictures on my phone. But if I'm going to show you a picture on my phone of something I took because I think it's funny or maybe it's a meme, right? And I hand it to you, you look at it, you say, hey, nice. But once your finger starts going for my screen to swipe to see what's before or after it, that's like a no-no. Like, no, you're not. That's my personal stuff for that phone you're trying to look at, right? Even though it could be my kid, it could be my dog, but it's just that's not what I was showing you. So personal devices, got to keep that in mind. Interview and extract is kind of like where I want to go with this, with the when you're talking to a victim or a witness and they're there with you, kind of use your skills as a interviewing and talking to get to what you want to extract out of that device. And you may be able to get more as you're going it, because now they start feeling comfortable that you're not digging too deep or doing something that they feel if you walked in the other room with their phone and started doing something, it's out of their sight. It's kind of tough to go through. And just transparency goes a long way in anything. The more transparent you are with them, the more apt they are to give you some data. Working with them, private area, allows support if they need it. Hey, can my sister sit with me? You know, and you're going to have your ground rules. Yeah, absolutely. They can come in and be with you. You've been through something. I have no problem with that. But just, you know, you're the one that needs to answer the questions. You're the one that needs to do this. Once they become your voice, I'm going to have to ask them to leave, type of thing, right? We always have our rules. But if you put it across that way, I'm sure it's going to be fine. Give them the ability to view and assist if needed, like we were just kind of talking about. Lead me, show me, let me talk to you. You guide the way, and I'll tell you where I'm going to start taking stuff. Again, that transparency. I hate this word. I hate the word compassionate policing. I get it. It was a buzzword. It kind of still is a buzzword. Compassion is you as a person, has nothing to do with you as a police officer. Maybe expect it a little bit more, but you have it. You've been brought up with it. You've been taught it. You've been taught it in the academy. So to put a word on it like it doesn't happen bothers me, but it's something we need to think of because it is that buzzword. It is easy, can be easy to disregard at times. You've worked a 16-hour shift, or you're working a 16-hour shift, and 15 hours into it, you get something like this that comes up, and you're just like, you know, you just got to remember, start thinking about, okay, it's their phone, they're a victim. How can I get this stuff? Maybe I could even get out of here earlier because we're going to work together on this. But when it comes to that, WWGD, what would grandma do, is always what I thought of, what I taught in the academy for patrol officers going out and, you know, handling cases for the first time. Start thinking in your mind, what would grandma do? Unless you got a feisty old Italian grandma, you're pretty much all set 90% of the time. Or my feisty little Irish grandma, you know, maybe sometimes that doesn't work. But if you're dealing with somebody, right, how would I treat my sister, my wife, my brother, my father, my grandmother, those types of things. Just those things kind of help here. I'm going to let Kyle jump in here for a minute so I can get a drink of water, and maybe he can take me off my compassionate policing ledge.
Yeah, no, it is kind of just fluff, because we should already be operating at that level of, you know, treating people with respect, being compassionate, whatever. But Dave, to answer your question, we got a question that says, you know, who would I can't see where you work. I don't know if you're law enforcement or not. If you are, you know, local, state, federal, you know, who would audit whether me or a fellow forensic examiner were following, searching for such and such data. This goes back to, again, it depends on the jurisdiction, and I'm not aware of any body that governs this. I mean, the body that governs this is the courts, right? Is you know, is your evidence admissible or not? That's going to get flushed out in court, right? So if you had the legal authority to look at the last year of person's text messages, and you pulled in an email from 3 years ago, well, one, you shouldn't have been looking at something 3 years ago prior, and two, you shouldn't have been looking at emails, right? So that's where it's going to come out, and that's where you're going to lose the case or win the case, or get kind of, you know, embarrassed on the stand. But really, it boils down to good faith, and There are those instances, especially with digital data, especially when you get data from large electronic service providers. Say I had a case, for example, it was a Synchronos search warrant, and I asked for, and that's the cloud storage for a mobile account, and I only asked for 6 months of data and 6 months of content, and they sent me several years because I think the analyst, that was sitting there pulling that data was like, he probably wants to see this. Well, technically, that wasn't part of the search warrant and my legal authority. Now, when I received it and opened the file and I saw, 2015 or whatever that was, I can't unsee that. But again, I was there in good faith, and I made sure to make that clear and piggyback search warrants. But yeah, I'm not aware of one particular body or anything that would audit you, but just do the right thing. What would grandma do, when no one's looking? Just be careful and be up to snuff on your laws.
It comes down to, like you said, good faith. You're trained to do a job. You're expected to do that job. You're in a trusted position, and it's your reputation, right? Especially with the type of work you're doing. A lot of big cases come across your desk, and you're the first one looking. You're the one doing the exam. You're the one going through everything, and there's going to be somebody else going, well, what about this? Look over here, and you just go, that's not the way I operate. This is my realm. This is what I'm going to do. So you don't fall into those types of things. Those types of situations where you can, because it will come out. How did you get there? Where is he? Look at this. Even I know as a, outside of this, that you saw that a place you weren't supposed to be. So, hey, you come across something, you weren't, like he says, it opens up, it says 2015, maybe it's another piece of paperwork, original search warrant with an addendum that says, hey, I got this information back. It dates all the way back to 2015. I'd like to open it and go through it. But I can't do that without, seeing some of this stuff. So it's all how you do it. Screen capture methods. I hope that answered your question. I kind of went through this earlier. User created, phone stands, capture and upload. There are other methods out there. I know some people will capture or tell people to capture something on their phone and upload it to evidence.com or something like that. So there are different methods to do this. There are free methods out there. One the investigator created. I'm going to use my phone and take a picture of the other phone. Again, not suggested. May not include the victim, right? So you're using other methods where maybe the victim can't come to where you're going to do this stuff. So maybe not the best way to do it. It could be cumbersome, tedious to do some of this, and not documented. And we'll show you some of the stuff you need to do. Some of the challenges you're going to have are the challenges by our own community. So if you're starting to work in this way, and it is a digital world, and this is where some of the debate comes in. Can you not? I'm working with victim witness consent. I'm outside of the Fourth Amendment, but we still have policies and procedures that were written where they're going to come try to challenge you with it. The best solution to that is a well-written report, a well-documented report, good findings, and a good legal team, and you shouldn't have any issues. Chain of custody is the biggest. Okay. So, and this comes up with when somebody hears the word screenshot, they think the victim took it and gave it to you or sent it to you, where you lose kind of chain of custody. They took it, they sent it to me through an email, or they took it, printed it out and brought it into me. So when you're doing these types of things, you want to make sure you get the date and time that the screenshot was taken, the device it was taken from, and that digital fingerprint, that hash value. Hopefully you'll be able to do that to say, this is it at the beginning, and this is it 3 years from now when I'm in court. So it just goes to helping that chain of custody there. Why do you want to use them? Most obvious, what's on the screen. text messages, images, setting, internet history. If you can bring it up, you can get it 99% of the time. And I'll show you some of that here in a minute. Just check the time. Yeah, we got plenty of time for the demo coming up here. Contacts, call logs, photo vaults. What's the best way a jury understands what you're talking about? It's with pictures. You start showing them pictures of a phone and how they got somewhere, it all goes towards that. They understand it. Oh, look, here we are. Oh, look. Yeah, I understand that. They clicked on the app. It opened up. Oh, yeah, my chat logs look like that. Oh, I see the bubbles. Yeah, they understand that rather than a kind of antiseptic or sterilized kind of report. Text messaging, what you're doing, you want to make it stick. So when you're taking screenshots, I try to say, like, walk through the process. Here's the app on the home screen. Here's what it looks like when it opened. Here's the chat log of all the different chats that are in here. Here's where the one I want sits, right? That may actually go towards when you're interviewing. Oh, I thought you just said you just talked to them. They're like the fourth person down in this chat log. You've had 3 other chats since then. When you open it up, usually there's a heading, Tuesday, 12 o'clock, this chat started, right? And then it goes through, maybe it's now Tuesday or Wednesday, but you don't see the individual times for each individual chat. But if you know your phone and you know if you put your finger on it and swipe a little bit to the left, all the dates and times may pop out. That's on an iPhone, right? So now I've got the individual dates and times that all this stuff was sent back and forth. So just knowing a little bit about the device and what you can do to enhance what you're doing and making it stick, trying to get as much as possible out of it that you can. Can I bring up the metadata? Can I bring up the exact dates and times? Can I show this person's user information in case I have to do legal paperwork for the suspect, right? So the suspect sends something in. Can I grab the information I need to show this is their user, not just their handle, but their user information for legal process? So a lot to help make it stick. Document the device, date and time, integrity hash. And then with this, sometimes it comes back to doing some paperwork. I used to be able to write subpoenas and search warrants in my sleep. So, maybe I do need to go for some billing records and text data transfer records or search warrant for other email accounts. So I wasn't able to get the header information from the phone, but I got the information I need to make my decision. Now I just back it up with a content search warrant for those email records. So there are ways to back up what you're looking for in that. And then some of the questions that come up, I had this victim and they gave me their chats, but what about if they deleted some of the chats? A lot of them do that. Yeah, they do. Kind of like interview. You know your case better than anybody else. As soon as you start getting that feeling, switch it back to, hey, sorry, taking your phone. Or I'm doing a search warrant for it and I'm going to hold it until that search warrant's approved. That type of thing. Nope, not thank you yet.
And Rich, I just wanted to add,
absolutely.
What if they delete it? Proving that they deleted it, knowing you're going to take a phone, maybe in 2 weeks or a month when you do go to arrest, you're grabbing it now. Again, knowing that you're probably going to get your hands on this phone in a month and do a full physical on it. I think that also can reflect a level of culpability, which is, well, look, I had it here, and then they deleted it, and then come. So don't be worried about that, because that, if anything, could be used to help your case. So that was it.
And the big thing is just remember, it's your case better than anybody else, and just pay attention as you're doing it. Let me switch here, and now you should be able to see what we call mobile device investigator, and kind of bring all this together for you, kind of give you the imagery of it, right? So I have a victim phone in front of me here. I have actually two of them, but one of them is the Android, and I have an iPhone, newer iPhone, because I want to show you something quick on that as well. Very simple to use. I have a victim or witness. I can investigate the device. If I did any kind of analysis earlier, I can see that. And then there's customization. We're not going to get into that today. But I have my device. Scanning is kind of your all-in-one. I'm going to connect the device. I'm going to tell it what I want out of it. It's going to make the acquisition. I'm going to have a chance to do screenshots and screen recording. It's going to make the acquisition. Then it's going to pull and parse what I asked it to do, right? So all in one. Connect it. When it's all done, you pull the plug, give the phone back, and you have all the data in front of you, just like any other forensic tool that you used. So you have that ability. Acquire is the same thing. You're going to make the advanced logical acquisition of the device and parse it out later. That's what that screen is. We're talking here about screencasting and preview, mostly screencasting. But what I do want to show you with preview is, if you're looking at something that may be on the phone right away, or you're looking to say, hey, what kind of images are on this device? Preview is exactly that. I have the phone connected here. See, here's a Google Pixel. Where it's going to save to, it's called preview. You can name it whatever you want. But I hit the button here, and it starts making an acquisition of this device. It starts making that advanced logical acquisition. As soon as it has some data coming across the wire, it starts showing it to me in real time. I've got my device information. I've got some networks. With Android, I'm going to get some artifacts up front. With iOS, it comes a little bit later. But this has been running 30 seconds. And if I go into my picture view here, the most recent pictures that were taken by this device are on top. And it's telling me that there's 2,925 images in the gallery that it's identified already. Now, there may be more later on, but this is the majority of what's on this device. Most recent being at the top. I've got properties, I've got metadata. And if I hit preview, that means it's been collected. Same with video. If I come into video, it's identified 17 videos on this phone. And now that I'm in here, it knows I'm looking at them. So I have the properties, the metadata, 50 frames, first, last, 48 from in between, gives me a good idea what's in the video. But if I go to video or preview here and I can play it, it means it's been collected. Okay, so if that's what I wanted, I stop. I've seen what I wanted. I know that I'm either going to take this phone or hand it back because it doesn't have anything on it, but I can make decisions that way. Consensual situation. You're in a house, you have a suspect, you want their phone, but you also don't want to leave something behind. Hey, do you mind if I look at your phone? I could put it on the search warrant. I have the right to take it, but you may not get it back for months. Grandma hands you her pink iPad. You hook it up to preview. Look at it. Hey, Grandma, there's nothing on here. You can have your device back. One less thing in the lab, and you're focusing more on there. And get to pat yourself on the back for being the good law enforcement officer and leaving siblings, children, grandparents, and such with their devices that have absolutely nothing to do with maybe why you're at that house. Anything with that, Kyle? My little storytelling?
No, preview's great. I love it. Previews was standard for all my investigations, even in the office. Hey, do you mind if I look at your phone? Yeah, no problem. Cool. I'm plugging it into preview. And yeah, I'm not getting a hex view. I'm not getting the zeros and the ones, but what I am getting is 99% of what I need, which is just recent chats, recent photos, videos, basic stuff, just to, again, knowing that, that phone's probably going to walk, but I just need a little extra to move my case forward.
Yeah. So here's screenshot, screen recording, or screencasting as we call it. I have the Pixel connected again. It's all the same. We have a wizard here that I didn't show you that walks you through the process of getting it connected if you've never done it before. So if you forgot what buttons do I hit, what settings do I change, this walks you through the process. So it brings me into this area where I can do my screenshots and screen recordings. So there it is, Thursday, June 20th, 2:50. There's my phone. I can control the phone. You can see it on here. There's a screenshot button. Bam. I have my screenshot. What's on the screen is now mine. I can turn on a record button here. So I could record the whole session. If you're really worried about, well, they may come after me and say I did this and I did that on the phone, just hit the record button and let it run. I can still take screenshots as I'm going through it. But I still have the whole recording here. You can categorize what you're looking for. Hey, I want the WhatsApp data here. I'm going to put that in a separate group. I'm going to find WhatsApp on the phone. There it is. I'm going to open that. I'm going to take a screenshot of it. Right. I'm going to come down here. Barry's the one I'm looking for. And with Android, this is a nice feature. There's a scroll button. So it scrolls right through and grabs all the pages for you. So now you can see I have 11 pages of those chats. I can zoom in on any one that I want. So if I'm looking at one of these pictures specifically, I can come in here and get a quick screenshot of that. So these are the things that may not be collected in an advanced logical or a logical acquisition. See, we have Telegram here. Thing about Telegram is, and this is where I talk about 99%, anything on Telegram that I can bring up here, I can screenshot, except for, well, I'm not going to say, I have a secret chat here. So I can open the secret chat, depending on the type of phone. And this one was actually, this is an older version. So I just took a screenshot of it and I got it. And that's why there's a laugh on there, because older Android versions allowed you to get that. Newer Android versions, the text isn't going to show up. You'll be able to open the secret chat, show it's a secret chat, but you won't get any of the information. Other versions, it will just show a blank or a black screen. So that's where that 99% comes in. The way we're collecting this, like for Snapchat and some of these other apps, it will not notify the other party that a screenshot was taken because we're not using the device to take the screenshot. We are actually casting it here to do it. However, Telegram, it's one of the few, if not the only, they look to see if you are casting the chat only during secret chat, not through the others. But if you are casting, it says in the chat that a screenshot had been taken rather than it was being casted. So Telegram secret chats are still difficult, but for everything else, we're doing pretty good. But just think of the uses here. Drones, flight paths, Uber, receipts, maps, human trafficking. Hey, what airports are they? Look, let me look through their Uber. Let me open up this. Oh, they went from the airport to this hotel. Oh, they went from this hotel to this hotel. Oh, they went from this airport to that airport. You know, you just things you could record off a device and give it back without putting somebody in jeopardy, and getting what you need in order to do that. Recording, if you're playing a video, you can get all that as well. While I switch over here, Kyle, you have anything here? I'm going to show an iPhone and then just a couple of results with the OCR on it.
Yeah, no, it's just nowadays with encrypted chats, I mean, Telegram, WhatsApp, yeah, it's even if you're doing a full, you're going to have to make a bit for bit copy and load up as a live machine. That's fine if you have the time, but again, if you need it right then and there, you need to screen record it.
Yeah. So for those who are watching that are used with iPhones and the addition of the developer mode in iOS 16, which made it difficult to do screenshots and screen recordings, the way we do it here is if you have that, we mirror the device So you use the mirroring on the iOS device to attach it to here. It doesn't have to be, public Wi-Fi. You could have a private Wi-Fi network. You could tether your phone to your computer. As long as you have that connection, it should make that connection for you. Live TV here, folks. It's just taking a little more time here. You can see in here, I've got it ready to go. Let me do this. Just change the setting. There it is. Come on. All right, well, my iPhone, there it is. It's being a chooch today. There we go. See, it does work. So we can mirror and get the same information, record, screenshot, and do whatever we need to do on that. You can see here taking screenshots, taking recordings, all works the same. What I want to show you is when it's acquisition, run a set of instructions against it, which doesn't take long at all. So here's one. 4 minutes to process 67 different screenshots and recordings. By processing, it brings it in so you can make a case and report on it, and it runs OCR against it, so it's now searchable. You can see I broke it down here. I took the account information off the device. I went through Chrome and took pictures of Chrome. Here's all my home screens in my library. Here's some Kick chat. My lock screen notifications, I could bring those up in the here. Some photos, settings and notifications, Telegram, and then WhatsApp. Now, out of all of these, I forgot, but there's hey, John is in here. Let me search for John, and it brings me up and shows me there's 5 different screenshots that have the word John in it. So the first one shows me the preview here, John McCready. That's my user. Kamoko or Spencer. Here's another one. Again, John McCready. Here's its Google account. So you can see how it helps you get through and start bookmarking or tagging or filtering all this stuff. And then you could report on it. You get your PDFs, your HTML reports, or you can take this, put it into a viewer and hand it off to somebody else and let them go through everything you did and do their investigation that way. I talked a lot. Kyle, anything to finish up here? Good. All right. With that, I'm going to say thank you right at just about the top of the hour. I want to thank Kyle for being with me. I want to thank Cyber Social Hub, Megan, for putting this all together today. Thank you all for coming here. You had a choice today. You chose to come in here and listen to me and my melodic tones. Kyle, anything?
No, just there was another question that came in. What precautions / protections would be standard practice when using this platform on the phone of an alleged perpetrator who is especially tech savvy? You want to answer that?
Knowing that information, that's where I would, maybe opt out of doing this. I would more opt to go for some other type of let me get the advanced logical, or let me get the full file system, and maybe combine screenshots along with it if you're not going to get something else. But yeah, that comes down to knowing if you have that, if you know that, then there's another path you may need to take. Again, this is a specific path in your investigation. It's not the only route, so it's an option. And you can use the option either way, either up or down. Hey, I want to do this way. Nope, I need to change and go up. Or you were going to go the up route, but you may lose the evidence. So now you can say, hey, I'm going to go this route instead. Hope that makes sense.
Otherwise, I'm good, Rich. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. And everybody have a great day.